So I was asked to speak here today to talk about our unique economy that we have on Cape Cod, and putting together some talking points about what I wanted to share about the Cape's economy. I think the title actually is really appropriate. I don't want to talk about the state of the Cape economy and go through lots of data and information, which I will do. But I think it's really fitting that we're talking about the Cape in terms of our unique economy. And I think a lot of times we think of the Cape as a special place, and really because that is because we are such a unique community. So at the Cape Cod Commission, we're the Regional Planning and Economic Development Agency for the Barnstable County region. And we do a lot of planning around our economic development. And we really are interested in focusing on where we've been, how we've grown, how we've evolved over time, and where we're going as a region. So Cape Cod's economy, as we all know, is closely linked to its environment. Its coastal character and its natural resources have driven our major industries for centuries. And I promise I won't use too many maps today, but we are a planning agency. I have to use a few maps. And so what you're seeing here on this slide is development across the region for the centuries prior to 1900. So you're seeing that development pattern really along the coast. You're seeing those parcels that were developed for a couple of centuries prior to 1900, focusing on those water resources, focusing on those areas along the coastline. And we know that a lot of that parcel development really shaped the character of the Cape. Those are our historic villages. Those are our maritime sectors that really focused in those areas along the coastline. And a lot of that historic and unique community character still exists today. And a lot of that is what we try to emulate and what we try to make sure is maintained as part of the Cape's community, part of the Cape's economy. This is development through present day. You can see, of course, a lot of that development still focused around the coastline, with, of course, some more development that happened towards the other areas within the Cape Cod region. So I won't focus too much on maps, but what I want to do is talk a little bit about the evolution of the Cape economy. And certainly, we've been an economy based around water for a very long time, whether it was from our whaling industries to now looking at our tourism economy and with whale watching. From the way we used to ship goods through the Cape Cod Canal and by sail around the region to now shipping and certainly carrying passengers through ferry. And we are, of course, home to many different marine technology and innovation centers across the Cape Cod region, really a focus of our blue economy. It's a connection to the water that we've had for centuries. It's our connection to the water that makes the Cape unique, that really makes our economy what it is, our blue economy. So from time to time, we survey people that live on the Cape, the homeowners that come to the Cape. We've done this since the 1990s. And the top categories for reasons that people come to the Cape certainly won't shock you, but those are environmental quality, access to the coast, and outdoor recreation opportunities. These have been in the top of the responses to these surveys that we've conducted over the course of the last several decades. Reasonable taxes, I won't go there today. But the focus, obviously, you can see is really that connection to our water. So I want to talk a little bit about the data, what really makes up the Cape economy. And I'll talk a little bit about the state of the Cape economy, but I don't want to bore you. I don't want to go into too much with GDP and unemployment and wages. I will touch on that, but not in too much detail here. But really, let's talk about the people. We saw that significant development pattern, and here you can see that significant increase in the number of people that inhabited the Cape from 1970 to 2000, leveled off a little bit in 2010 census data. Our most recent census data has us at about just under 230,000 people. I think, of course, we all know that we saw a significant influx of people that came to the Cape during the pandemic. And so we've been able to get a better understanding of who came to the Cape and what those numbers look like. But what's going to be more important is really understanding who's here to stay, how long they're going to be staying for, and what does that mean for our economy here on the Cape? What does that mean for our infrastructure? What does that mean for additional resources that we might need to bring into our region? So I'll touch on those pandemic population numbers in just a moment. As you all know, we also have an older population here on the Cape. Our average age is just about 54 years old. compared to the rest of the Commonwealth at about 39 years old, the rest of the country at about 38 years old. And what we've seen over time in the last 70 or so years is that increase of population 65 years or older. So 31% of our population is older. Certainly not surprising. We have a retiree population here on the Cape, and I'll go into some of that detail in just a moment. But we do have an older and aging population here in the region. We're also getting a little bit more diverse. So certainly not anywhere near where the state or the Commonwealth is, but we have been seeing an increase in diversity, and over the last 10 years, our increase in diversity just about doubled. And so our percentage of population of non-white is at about 14% of our population here in the region. So I'll talk GDP just because I want to talk broadly about the state of the Cape's economy, but then I really want to focus in on some more of our natural resources. So certainly this is a measure of stability of the regional economy. We did experience some impacts from the pandemic, of course, and even steeper than when compared to the state. But our GDP as of 2021 at about $12.1 billion really is anticipating and really reflecting a return to some of those pre-pandemic numbers that we did see here. And that is right just about in line with the state's gross domestic product as well. Highly seasonal economy. I don't need to tell anyone that we're a highly seasonal economy. Everyone knows that. But this does show you that we are a highly seasonal economy. We see that significant increase in our number of employment, our number of jobs during the seasonal months, the summer months here. And we did see, obviously, that the pandemic had significantly affected employment on the Cape, and monthly employment counts have risen since 2021, and they're close to returning to pre-pandemic levels, and I expect that over the course of the summer, we will see a return to some of those pre-pandemic levels and potentially even go beyond that in terms of our employment numbers. So our top industries across the Cape really do reflect our economy's reliance on our visitors, our economy's reliance on our retirees, the second homeowners that we have here in the region. And those top employment industries, the top three being healthcare, retail, and then accommodation and food services, really represent the over 50% of our top industries. You can see trailing a little bit behind there is the construction industry, education, public administration. So just to give you a sense of some of those top industries and where they fall in to our economy as a whole. Our county as a whole, our median annual earnings are slightly lower than the state. So the total annual earnings are about $45,000 per wage earner for the Cape. For the entire state, it's about $53,000. And I can't help but point out that women had lower median annual earnings than their male counterparts by about $12,000 here on the Cape. That difference even larger in the state, so had to point that out. And certainly not surprising, but we do have a lower labor force participation on the Cape than the rest of the state. So our labor force participation, just about 60% compared to 67% in the state, really reflecting that retiree population that we have here in the region. And that percent income from salaries and wages being lower here on the Cape, about 51% compared to 63% for the rest of the state, really indicating that not all of the income that's present on the Cape is coming from salaries and wages. Really, we know we've got a retiree population with additional sources of income and investments. And the unemployment numbers, of course, a measure of a regional economy. Our regional economy, of course, as we all know, was significantly impacted by COVID. You can see those unemployment rates there around April of 2020 being the highest. We, of course, have a dip in our unemployment as we are a seasonal economy, and certainly we see those rates fluctuating throughout the course of the year. As of March of this year, it was about 6.2% unemployment. We fully expect that number will decrease as the summer months pick up, and certainly over the next few months we'll see those numbers change. Small businesses. Do we have small business owners in the room? I'm sure we have some. Good. Okay, we definitely have some. But businesses really, small businesses specifically, really are the backbone of a lot of the regional economy here on the Cape. 80% of the businesses on the Cape are considered small businesses with fewer than 10 employees. 1 in 6 of our Cape residents are actually business owners. And many of our businesses have been around for a long time, 11 or more years. So this is really providing a basis for information for us to show how our economy is functioning, how our business organizations, our business community is contributing to the local economy. So I said I'd get back to the population changes. So certainly we know what our year-round population is according to the last census, but we saw a significant influx of people coming to the region during the COVID-19 pandemic. And information that we were able to gather really indicated that Barnstable County followed very closely behind Dukes County and Nantucket County, gained about 1.5% of our annual population. You can see Suffolk County lost about 4%. And that equates to about 3,400 people, so representing about that 1.5% increase. So this is solely that net migration, that net increase in population from the state between April of 2020 and July of 2022. If we look at this combined with a variety of other data sets, including cell phone data and other different data sets that can really help us get a better understanding of who was here, how long they were here, we expect that this number could actually be significantly higher. But we're trying to understand the best available data and information and understand how long these people plan to potentially reside in their second homes, if that's where they are, and what does that mean for our long-term economy, and what does that mean for potential infrastructure needs, and how can we use that data and information to best advocate for additional resources that we might need to bring into our region. So we know that the Cape is unique. We have over 500 miles of coastline. We have significant working harbors. We have the national seashore that sees significant number of visitors every year. Somewhere over 4 million visitors to the national seashore over the course of the last few years. Our intrinsic wealth really stems from that natural beauty, the historic community character that we all embrace, and certainly healthy coastal and freshwater environments. And these features that make the Cape attractive, that draw the people to our region, also threaten to overwhelm our character and our environment. And certainly we see that with a lot of the regional challenges that we're facing on the Cape. At the Commission, we certainly make sure that our focus on a daily basis is that balance between environmental protection and economic progress. But facing our challenges is critical. And so balancing that protection of the environment and making sure that we have the infrastructure that we need to support not only the residents, but the workers and the visitors so that we can make sure that the Cape thrives over the long term. And that's something that the regional policy plan that the Cape Cod Commission produces and all of our other documents are supporting. And I'm sorry, these are showing up a little bit funny. The region's blue economy certainly is driven by extensive shoreline, direct access to open water, but more importantly acknowledges that the healthy Cape environment really does drive a healthy regional economy. So I've talked a lot about the data, what kind of where the status of the Cape economy is now, but we have a significant number of regional challenges that are really tied closely to the blue economy, and if not tied to our ocean and to our water resources, certainly has impacts on our economy. And our coastal waters, of course, our ocean waters, our marine estuaries and embayments are impacted by excess nitrogen. We all know we have a wastewater issue, so certainly making sure that that's a component of a thriving regional economy here on the Cape is critical. At the same time, we also have nearly 900 freshwater lakes and ponds across the region, also impaired on some level with potential different nutrients. And we know that many of them have been graded unacceptable for different nutrients, different monitoring data that we have that's shown us that there are significant impacts to some of our freshwater bodies. And of course, we're a coastal community, and we are certainly vulnerable to a range of climate-related hazards, sea level rise, storm surge. And the latest numbers indicate that we have about $16 billion of total assessed value of property within that special flood hazard area. So you can see that area around the coastline. $16 billion is a significant amount of total assessed value, and something that we'll need to take into consideration as one of our regional challenges. And of course, we look at climate change tied to coastal resiliency, and there is a cost. If we don't address some of these critical issues, there is a cost of doing nothing. And damage and the losses due to sea level rise and storm surge alone could exceed $50 billion by the year 2100. And you can see some of those impacts are to roads, tax revenue lost, beach tourism potentially reduced, land values decreased, and building damage being the most significant. Infrastructure, I know we don't need to harp on this too much today, but I do want to point out that the existing infrastructure does potentially limit our ability to grow in a way that balances our economic and social well-being. I don't want to focus on the bridges, but we do have aging infrastructure, and our other bridges, the average age of a bridge on Cape Cod is about 57 years old. So we do have aging infrastructure that needs to make sure we're accommodating upgrades to our existing infrastructure to accommodate a healthy economy. We're also seeing potential isolated roadways due to sea level rise, potentially 700 miles of roadways that could be lost by the year 2100. So I know Senator Moran touched on housing, and I would be remiss if I didn't at least pull housing into the discussion because it is such a critical component of a healthy economy. And there are some ways that are really unique for the Cape. I know the entire Commonwealth, the entire country is experiencing a housing crisis, but the Cape is unique in the fact that we have 82% of our homes are single-family homes. We have very little diversity in the market, and that's compared to 52% in the rest of the state and 62% in the Commonwealth. We also know we have a very highly seasonal housing stock. 36% of the homes across the region are second-family homes. And that's compared to a significantly lower number in the state of 4.2% and the rest of the country at 3.8%. And this seasonality really further compounds the availability of year-round housing for those that need it. So this is a chart on the top that's showing the median sales price for a single-family home. So back in January of 2019, we had the median sales price was around $399,000. We had about 1,700 homes on the market. Still a challenging housing market, but a little bit healthier. If you see through to today, as of March of 2023, we had the median sales price for a single-family home being about $700,000, with only about 360 homes on the market. So significantly challenging housing prices and inventory. And what that means is to afford to purchase that median sales price single-family home, you need a household income of about $210,000. And here you can see the Cape's overall median household income of about $82,000. And even more challenging is the renters looking to potentially break into that housing home ownership market, even more challenging at $43,000. So significant challenges as it relates to our housing market, really driving these regional challenges. I had a chance to meet with Dr. Richard Spinrad, who's the NOAA administrator, just a few months ago, and really they have a focus on data and information, and I think that that's a place where the Cape has an opportunity to really thrive. We have a significant amount of data and information. We have world-renowned institutions and organizations capturing the best available data and information, and really looking at the blue economy in terms of being a knowledge-based economy, and looking to data and information that we can use to address our societal challenges and inspire some of the solutions to our regional challenges. There's significant opportunities in the blue economy. I know you're going to talk about a lot of those today and through your conversations tomorrow as well. Of course, we like to focus on data and information, but there are lots of other opportunities to take the regional challenges that we have and come up with solutions that really are promoting our blue economy and promoting the successes of our blue economy here on the Cape. So a vibrant and healthy economy really requires us to respond to these challenges that we've identified and embrace opportunities that can foster a resilient and sustainable year-round economy. So with that, I want to thank you, and I'm excited to hear about this new approach to economic development.